Hi, everyone. So today we are going to be talking about a very wonderful product and a product that goes so well with any of the other products in our line. And that is our FS1 full spectrum oil. So what is this wonderful product all about? Let me just direct us to our next screen here to our product overview. So first of all, just getting into, to begin, what exactly is full spectrum CBD oil? So I know that CBD has been on the market for quite a long time and we are familiar, or most people are familiar with this oil, but full spectrum is something that is newly gaining a lot of popularity and for very good reasons. So what makes it so special in comparison to other oils is that it contains all of the beneficial compounds found in the cannabis plant. So this includes all the phytocannabinoids, it includes terpenes, flavonoids, fatty acids, chlorophyll, and the proteins in the plant. And something that is helpful to know is that CBD oil can be extracted from either hemp or marijuana. But full spectrum CBD hemp oil is an extract that is only derived from hemp. So it would never be derived from the marijuana plant. And hemp, just so you understand the difference, hemp is the term for a cannabis plant that has 0.3% THC or less. So if you are looking at a marijuana plant, it would have a higher concentration or a higher percentage of THC. So if a CBD product contains several naturally occurring cannabis plant extracts, for example, terpenes and other cannabinoids, including about 0.3% THC or less, then it is termed a full spectrum CBD oil. But you will see other variations of oils on the market if you are paying attention to the label. So for example, you might find a broad spectrum CBD oil, which is entirely free of THC, but it does have several of the other cannabis plant compounds. Or you might notice some oils are a CBD isolate, and that is a pure form of CBD only, so you're not going to have any THC, and then you're not going to have any of the other compounds such as the terpenes or the flavonoids or the other compounds that I mentioned in the beginning. So this diagram is super helpful just to get a very good visual of what a full spectrum oil versus a CBD isolate would look like. So you're looking at the full spectrum on the left, and then you're looking at the CBD isolate on the right. And this is kind of like a zoomed in image of what you might see within the oil. So the full spectrum, you can see there is everything there from the source plant. So what you're seeing there in that image is various phytocannabinoids that have a variety of different benefits. So we have, the regular THC, but then also variations of THC like THCA and THCV. And then we have our CBD, and then we have other cannabinoids such as CBC, CBN, and etc. And then on the right, you see your CBD isolate, again, kind of the zoomed in version. And what you're seeing is only CBD. So there's the difference right there, just to get a really great visual. And just some extra information there on the bottom for you to get an understanding of how the product is created. So a full spectrum CBD product, manufacturers will use the dried hemp plant matter to extract the cannabinoids. And usually a supercritical CO2 extraction is used to draw out these plant compounds. So giving the full spectrum oil all of the cannabinoids that hemp actually has to offer. And then on the right with the isolate, it is made from carefully filtered hemp plant extract that is obtained with supercritical CO2 extraction. And this allows, again, for the cleanest and purest product that is available on the market in terms of CBD. So just taking a look at our next, again, a really great visual here just to get an idea of what the full spectrum versus the broad spectrum would look like. So on the left-hand side, we have the full spectrum cannabinoid profile. So this gives us a variation of what you might see with a full spectrum oil. And so you see there that we have all the various cannabinoids there working together. And then we have the variations or the various components of THC as well. And then on the right-hand side with the broad spectrum, you'll see that you do have all of the phytocannabinoids there minus the THC. So this is the difference in terms of what you would be getting. And so it's for you to decide really what it is that you are looking for. But I will explain why the full spectrum is really the best way to go if you are planning on incorporating a product like this into your health routine. So a cannabis plant will generally contain up to 120 different phytocannabinoids. Although what we hear the most hype about and what we see the most research done about currently would be THC or CBD. And then also a cannabis plant will have up to 150 different types of terpenes. And I'll get into that a little bit later in the presentation. But aside from CBD and THC, there are many other effective studied phytocannabinoids. And as time is going on and these products are becoming more and more popular, we are going to be seeing more and more research into the benefits of these different phytocannabinoids. So with some of them, we're only really beginning to scratch the surface in terms of what the benefits are, and they're already so amazing. So we have other cannabinoids like CBC, CBG, CBN, and then D9-THC. And something that is really amazing about these phytocannabinoids in the hemp plant is that they actually affect our body's natural endocannabinoid system, which I will be talking a lot more about. And this system is in our body in order to keep the body in homeostasis, which is another word for balance. So this system is actually there to make sure that our body's in balance at all times. So in terms of our full spectrum CBD oil, so the FS1 CBD oil, it is a 30-day supply of full spectrum CBD hemp oil in a 1 ounce or 30 milliliter bottle with a glass dropper. So one bottle will contain 500 milligrams of CBD with an added natural peppermint flavor. And you should be taking, or it's recommended that you take 0.5 milliliters, which is approximately 20 drops under the tongue twice daily. And so in order for you to really have the best absorption with this product, allow the oil to kind of rest under your tongue for about a minute, and then you can swallow. And this will provide 16 milligrams of CBD per day. And so again, this is a product that you can really use with all other Esprita products because of its synergistic benefits and because it's really working on a different system than the other products that we're talking about. And then some of the very important benefits to note here. So FS1, it helps reduce ordinary stress levels naturally. It supports optimal immune function in the body. It helps maintain healthy blood sugar levels. It helps relieve occasional sleeplessness. It supports joint health and comfort. It supports healthy digestion. It provides herbal support for cellular health and energy levels. And it supports healthy mood balance and promotes a feeling of overall well-being. So this is all within this one product here. Now going on to our why, who, and ask. So why would you consider trying FS1? Who is FS1 specially formulated for? And some questions that you can ask to see if FS1 might be the right product for you. So going on first to why consider trying FS1. So are you looking for a natural product that works with your body's innate systems to promote better health and well-being in areas of stress management, joint health, energy, and sleep? Do you find the stressors of everyday life challenging? And are you noticing those impacts mentally, physically, and or emotionally? And are you coping with a chronic illness, whether digestive, mood, cardiovascular, or inflammatory, and are looking for a product that can support any one or a few of these challenges without unwanted side effects? So if you find yourself reading along with this and thinking yes to one or more of these questions, then you might want to consider trying this product. Now going on to the who. So who is FS1 formulated for? So firstly, individuals looking to bring greater support to their bodies, whether physically, mentally, or emotionally, by working with their body's innate systems for greater health and well-being. Individuals that are feeling the effects of everyday stressors to their well-being, whether through lack of sleep, altered mood, digestive issues, or inflammatory and immune issues. And individuals dealing with chronic health concerns who are already supporting their bodies with both conventional medication and supplementation, but feel that something is still missing. So again, looking at any or all of these, if they apply to you, then I would consider giving this product a try. And then questions that you can ask yourself or your customers to see if FS1 might be right for you. So first question, do you feel that your body is stressed and you would like to support feeling a sense of relaxation and calm in your daily life? Question number 2, are you managing health issues and are looking for a natural product that works with your body's innate systems to target multiple areas of concern at once? And question number 3, are you looking to offer general support to multiple systems in your body, such as mood and stress management, digestive and immune health, and overall cellular health, to go from that feeling of meh to feeling like you are thriving in your life? So going on to the key ingredients and features of this amazing product. So one thing that really stands out with a full spectrum CBD oil or CBD hemp oil is something that has been studied for a good period of time now, and it is known as the entourage effect. So with the entourage effect, and why this effect is so important, is that research has shown that health benefits, for example, of food, are really due to the synergistic interactions between the bioactive compounds and nutrients that are found in whole foods versus the action of one compound. So this is why when you're eating any vegetable, any fruit, any natural whole food, you are going to find that it's going to have a variety of nutrients or compounds together. And this is not a coincidence. This is done by nature intentionally, because really the combination of those compounds together is what allows that plant to have the full benefit that it does. So this is why research has shown that there's a complete difference between, let's say, offering individuals all their vitamins and minerals, amino acids, etc., through a whole foods diet versus taking those same nutrients, isolating them, putting them into pill form, and then giving individuals those nutrients through, let's say, a supplement diet. It doesn't work the same way. It works better synergistically. So this is actually the same thing that research has found in full spectrum CBD hemp oil. So CBD, the benefits of CBD are actually stronger when they are combined with other phytocannabinoids, terpenes, flavonoids, and etc. within the plant. So the cannabis plant is providing those benefits in the way that they are meant to be used. And this is known as the entourage effect, that all of them work better together as a team versus them being individual separate players. So the entourage effect is the idea that multiple naturally occurring compounds combine, providing a far better performance than any one compound alone. So for example, terpenes will enhance how we process hemp's many phytocannabinoids, while the flavonoids in the cannabis plant, they are phytonutrients known to have many antioxidative and anti-inflammatory effects. And even with THC oil, because there are a lot of people that feel weary with THC because of its psychoactive properties, but actually research has also shown that the presence of the minute amount of THC that's found in full spectrum oils is known to amp up the anti-inflammatory and the pain relieving effects of CBD without getting a person high. So in the right amounts, THC can actually, and does actually, work with the other phytocannabinoids to enhance their healing properties. So when you mix phytocannabinoids together, with the supportive compounds and antioxidants that are already in the hemp plant stock, it's really a whole mix. And this is, you're seeing really the whole system at work and how well it works together. Okay, so moving on to a visual, wonderful visual of how this entourage effect really works. So we have this quote at the top: the more compounds you have, the wider range of therapeutic benefits. And this is always the case as long as it is done correctly. Of course, you are going to get better benefit from a combination of nutrients or bioactive compounds versus just one on its own. So you can see there on the right, the product and the entourage effects. So you have the puzzle pieces on the left there with the isolate, and you can see it's just pure CBD, right? And then on the right, you have the full spectrum, and you can see how there's variations. So you have the CBD there, you have the THC, you have another phytocannabinoid, you have your flavonoids and your terpenes, and they're all fitting together in this awesome puzzle that is providing all these benefits. And so full spectrum CBD oil, for example, as I mentioned, will offer higher levels of anti-inflammation relief than just a CBD isolate. And this is again due to all of the compounds that are present there. And then on the right-hand side, you can see the various compounds that are found in the hemp plant altogether. So you have some examples of terpenes there that can be found. And I will go into more detail as to what a terpene actually is and what the benefits of a terpene is. But some of the common ones that you might see, and maybe looking at those names, you might actually, if you are, let's say, an essential oils lover, you might actually notice, oh, I've heard of some of these names before. So for example, we have things like eucalyptol or limonene or geraniol. So these are some common terpenes that are found in the marijuana or hemp plant. Then we have our flavonoids, which again, some of these names you might have heard of before, specifically quercetin. We've talked about that one a few times, or even silymarin, found in milk thistle, which is phenomenal for your liver. And then we have all of our cannabinoids there. So we can see that there is quite a variation of them, and it's not just the CBD and the THC. And then the next thing that helps us to really understand how the phytocannabinoids and the whole system in the full spectrum CBD oil work and why it's so beneficial, I'm going to explain to you a little bit about how our actual endocannabinoid system works. So this is a very unique system that is actually found within our body. And it is there naturally, and it plays a role in maintaining our immune system, digestive and central nervous systems, and it's responsible for keeping our bodies in homeostasis. And this is both biochemically and physiologically. And you can see on the right there a really helpful image that helps us to understand some of the things that the endocannabinoid system actually regulates naturally within our bodies. So we have things like motivation and reward, thermal regulation, so heat regulation, our stress response, our metabolism, our appetite, mood, energy, muscle control. So that is quite a lot that this system is responsible for. So our bodies will naturally produce endocannabinoids to keep the system functioning optimally. But what happens sometimes is, for whatever reason, we might not make enough of our own. And so this is where having outside support to work with this system is really beneficial. So phytocannabinoids are naturally occurring compounds that are found in the cannabis plant that are able to interact with our body's natural endocannabinoid system, because their behaviors and their actual structure, physical structure, mimics that of the endocannabinoids that we produce. So our system can very easily recognize them and assimilate them because it recognizes that structure. It's something that we already have within us. So phytocannabinoids will interact with our endocannabinoid system receptors to regulate these processes. So things like sleep, digestion, motor control, reproduction and fertility, pleasure and reward, all of that is regulated in this system, and phytocannabinoids can help with this process. And so one way that's helpful for you to kind of visualize this and understand it is that the endocannabinoid receptors are like the locks. So we have these locks in our bodies already. And then the phytocannabinoids, or the cannabinoids, both endo and phyto, are the keys. So as long as the key fits into the right lock, we can turn that key, and then we can turn on whatever function that key is and lock are responsible for. So only certain keys will fit into certain locks. And the two major receptors that are within the system are known as CB1 and CB2. And I will talk a little bit more about these receptors, as they are quite important, but there are also minor ones that are very important as well. So for example, GPR55, the PPARS, and then also TRPV1, amongst others, because there are other important ones as well. Okay, so moving on, just for us to understand CB1 and CB2, because these are the two major systems that you might hear about the most if you start doing more research into this yourself. So our CB1 system, so basically CB1 receptors are found all throughout our body, specifically in our central and peripheral nervous systems. So they are normally found on the nerve cells of the brain, the spinal cord, and other organs. And they can also be found in smaller amounts on the spleen, white blood cells, endocrine glands, and parts of the reproductive and digestive tracts. So you can see that in the image there. Also, we have them in the brain, the vascular system, etc. And then with CB2 receptors, those are mainly found in the immune system. And these receptors can be found on white blood cells, tonsils, our spleen, which is also responsible for our immune system support, and then also, as mentioned, our immune cells. So you can kind of see the image there, and then where CB1 and CB2 kind of interconnect, where they are both responsible for certain systems. So we have, let's say, the liver, the bone marrow, and the pancreas. Okay, and so I explained CB1 and CB2 already, but we have some other really important receptors that are found within our body as well that phytocannabinoids also exert an influence on. So GPR55 receptors, these are fairly new endocannabinoid receptors that are also found both in the central and peripheral areas of the body. And these receptors are connected to inflammation, to bone health, diabetes, neuropathic pain, and to cancer. And then the PPARS receptors, so these are also now have been found to be critical and multi-role. So they can be beneficial also in areas like diabetes, glucose metabolism, energy balance, inflammation, neurodegenerative disorders, and pain and obesity. And then the last very popular receptor are the TRPV1 receptors. And these receptors have a wide range of therapeutic benefits, and they are known as the capsaicin receptors. So this is the primary receptor that capsaicin, which is an anti-inflammatory compound found in chili peppers, binds to when it enters the body. And these receptors help control our body temperature, and they also play a role in how we feel pain. So you might have seen, even if you go to, for example, a holistic health shop, you might see certain products that contain capsicum that are even, you can put on your body externally if there are areas where you're experiencing pain and inflammation. So this comes from this particular compound that's found in chili peppers. Okay, and so moving on to CBD and discussing the benefits of CBD and how it acts on these various receptors that are in the body. And so CBD is a pleiotropic drug, and which means it produces many effects through multiple molecular pathways. And so something to note about CBD is it doesn't actually react with CB1 and CB2 like other cannabinoids do. So it doesn't have a direct impact on them, but it instead interacts with the body's other endocannabinoids and influences them in turn to act on those two, on the receptors of those two systems in the most beneficial way. So CBD has so many benefits. So it's known to be anxiolytic, so really helps with the anxiety response, anti-inflammatory, anti-diabetic, antibacterial, antispasmodic. It's a vasorelaxant, it's neuroprotective, it's anti-ischemic, intestinal antiprokinetic, and it is anti-epileptic. So a lot of important benefits there. One of the things that it does is that it activates the TPRV1 receptor. So going back to what we discussed, the pain receptor. And in that way, it can positively influence our pain response. It's also known as a GPR55 antagonist, which means that it blocks the signaling of this receptor in the body. And this is beneficial in areas relating to inflammation, diabetes, and bone health. And then it is also a PPARS agonist, so which means that it actually triggers this receptor and benefits the various organ systems that are connected to this receptor. And so that includes, for example, supporting liver health positively, promoting glucose-stimulated insulin secretion, as well as insulin sensitization in various parts of the body. And that is very important because we start to experience issues with, let's say, diabetes and insulin resistance when our body becomes less sensitized to the insulin that's being produced, and we don't recognize that. So having that sensitivity is important to maintain our blood sugar balance. It's supporting both dendritic and macrophage function in the immune system. It is responsible for decreasing inflammation in the brain and the heart, and it's responsible for increasing lipid metabolism of brown and white adipose tissue. So this is all happening just through its support of this one receptor. So another thing that is important about CBD is it is known to reduce the intoxicating effects of THC in the body. And what it does is it acts as a negative allosteric modulator to CB1, which means that it changes the shape of the CB1 receptor in a way that basically weakens CB1's ability to bind to THC. And so that through that way, it's helpful in reducing these impacts of THC that might not be so beneficial. And there's two other systems that, or two other important cannabinoids that CBD exerts an influence on. And so these two are known as anandamide, which is quite important, and I'll talk about why. And then we also have 2-AG, which is another important endocannabinoid that CBD will act on. Okay, so starting with anandamide. So anandamide is an endocannabinoid or a molecule in our bodies that is named after the Sanskrit word ananda, which means bliss or divine happiness. So you can tell just from that description there that this is something that we want more of in our body. So it mainly functions as a neurotransmitter, because it sends messages between nerve cells in the nervous system. And so it affects areas of the brain that are related to pleasure, happiness, cognitive, sensory, and motor functions. And it plays a role in mood regulation and in boosting dopamine levels, increasing happiness and joy, reducing pain, managing stress, and also regulating sleep. So another thing that is helpful to know is that anandamide also attaches to CB1 and TRPV1 receptors. So CBD will also act as a reuptake inhibitor in relation to anandamide. And what that means is that it will compete with anandamide uptake into cells. And although that might not sound like a good thing, because we're thinking, well, if this is such a great neurotransmitter or such a great endocannabinoid, then why do we want CBD to compete with uptake into cells. But what this means is that in this case, less anandamide will be broken down and more of it will actually be left to float around in the body, allowing it to attach to endocannabinoid cells, which will allow us to have more of it in the system to keep producing those feelings of, pleasure, happiness, and leading to some of the other benefits, such as reducing pain and managing stress. Okay, and just for you to, again, get a really, I feel like these visuals are so helpful, just for you to get a great visual to see where some of these receptors are found in the body. So you can take a look there. And for example, we can see where the CB1 receptors are found. So we can see them there in the central nervous system. We can see the CB2 mainly in the peripheral system there. And then also some of the other ones, right? So for example, talking about GPR 55, we can see that purple color and that they're found mainly in the bones, the brain, and particularly in the cerebellum. And then we have them also in the digestive system, in the jejunum and the ileum. So you can get that really great visual idea of where these receptors are found. And then moving on to some of the other endocannabinoids. So we have 2-AG, which is responsible for physiological functions such as emotion, cognition, energy balance, pain sensation, and neuro, as well as overall inflammation. And so what is important to know about 2-AG is that it does attach to both CB1 and CB2 receptors, as well as TRPV1. And it plays a role in cellular signaling, immune function, appetite, and also addictive behaviors. So it is quite similar overall to anandamide, but it does have some of its own kind of benefits as well. And then we also have CBD playing the significant role in directly activating the 5-HT1A and 5-HT2A serotonin receptors. And so serotonin, we know, is a very important neurotransmitter in the body. It is responsible for mood balancing. It's responsible for our sleep health and how well we sleep. It's also responsible for our pain perception. So the fact that CBD does attach to these receptors, it does have so many benefits because we do want a healthy level of serotonin in the body. And sometimes for various reasons, our bodies cannot produce enough themselves. So having this kind of boost and support is very helpful. And another benefit of 5-HT1A, or the receptor, is that it's also been shown to decrease blood pressure, to lower blood temperature, and to also slow the heart rate. So, it's something to be, of course, cognizant of as well, is that if you do already have a naturally lower blood pressure, or let's say lower heart rates, then you do want to be mindful of, the amount that you take this product in. But overall, for people that experience, let's say, anxiety and some of those levels are increased, this would be a way to be able to regulate that. Okay, so moving on to THC. So overall, THC is mainly known for its psychoactive components. So we know, for example, we know about its effects when taken through a marijuana plant, right? For people, let's say, that smoke, we know that it's really responsible for that high sensation that we get. But what is different in the full spectrum hemp oil is that the percentage of THC that it contains is too low to have a psychoactive impact. And so the benefits of THC are actually much more pronounced when they are coupled with CBD, as well as other components in a full spectrum oil, like the terpenes and the flavonoids. So THC does bind to receptors in the endocannabinoid system. just as the body's natural endocannabinoids would. And for example, again, going back to, let's say, CB1 and CB2, so THC, it does bind to CB1. And so, for example, one of the important benefits of CB1 is that it helps to regulate the release of neurotransmitters like serotonin, dopamine, and glutamate. And THC taken in small amounts can have a positive impact on neurotransmitters that are responsible for mood balance, sleep, appetite, and stress support. And CB1 is also responsible for the body's top-down control of pain. So THC's interaction with our body's CBD receptors make it an effective pain reliever, while THC in combination with CBD provides a more powerful and anti-inflammatory property or effect than the CBD would alone. THC is also known for its ability to lower blood sugar levels, and how it does this is by increasing insulin sensitivity in the body, improving the production of insulin, and raising levels of adenopectin, which is a protein that regulates blood sugar. And another important thing to note is that studies have shown that THC actually assists with arterial inflammation due to its antioxidant properties. And so in terms of looking at the health of our cardiovascular system, and let's say health issues like high blood pressure or metabolic syndrome, THC would be supportive of reducing some of those symptoms. It also is known to reduce neuropathic pain that is associated with diabetes. Okay, and then moving on to some of our lesser known but very impactful phytocannabinoids. So we have CBC, CBG, and CBN. And so a full spectrum CBD oil will contain other phytocannabinoids aside from just CBD and THC. And so moving on to the first one, so CBC is one of the endocannabinoids that our system, or that, one of the phytocannabinoids that a cannabis plant will have. And it is the third most popular phytocannabinoid. And it's a potent inhibitor of the anandamide system, or anandamide uptake system. So what it does is it works to support endocannabinoids to interact with receptors responsible for inflammation and the pain response. And in particular, some of these receptors would be the TRPV1 and TRPA1 receptors. And studies have also shown that it does interact with CBD and THC to promote some mood boosting qualities as well. And then the next one we're looking at, which is CBG, this one is often referred to actually as the mother of all cannabinoids because other cannabinoids are derived from this particular cannabinoid. So it's derived usually from younger cannabis plants, and it contains the younger cannabis plants are what contain higher levels of CBG. So CBG imitates endocannabinoids, and it does this by binding to both CB1 and CB2 receptors, where it has been studied to strengthen the functions of anandamide, so enhancing pleasure and motivation, regulating appetite and sleep, and also alleviating pain. And then our last one that I'm going to talk about today is CBN. And so CBN is actually a degradation product of THC. And so opposite of CBG, it's usually found in aged cannabis. And so it has a threefold higher affinity for our CB2 receptors over THC. So we know THC has a higher affinity for CB1 receptors. This one has a higher affinity for CB2 receptors. And so that means that it mainly acts on our immune system. So it's also been shown to have powerful anti-inflammatory effects, and it's effective in relieving pain and inflammation caused by certain conditions such as arthritis. So you can see just basically from talking about these various phytocannabinoids that they all have different properties. Some of them, of course, do intermingle. So some of them are similar, but it's really all of them together that work to give the enhanced benefits of this product versus, let's say, just having the CBD isolate or even having the broad spectrum without the THC, because really they do need one another to work in the most beneficial way. Okay, so now moving on to some of the components of the full spectrum CBD oil that are probably the least known, or we've probably, heard about least in terms of how they would impact our system. So the first one is terpenes, and these are, so again, terpenes are found in plants, in all plants around us. They are discussed very commonly in essential oils. That's probably where they're the most popular. But they are, of course, also found in the cannabis plant. So they are extremely aromatic compounds that are produced by plants and insects. And their role is really to protect plants by discouraging herbivores from eating their leaves. So they play an important role by attracting pollinators, repelling predators, and assisting plants in recovering from damage and illness. And they are lipophilic, so that means that they are attracted to fat. So lipophilic compounds that easily cross the membranes and the blood-brain barrier. So hemp contains more than 150 types of terpenes. And many of these are just present in trace amounts, but the most prominent ones will combine to give the plant its signature scent and its most notable qualities. So when you are smelling various different kinds of cannabis plants, the variations in scent are due to the variations in terpenes. So some of the benefits that terpenes have in plants are the same that they have in humans. So for example, antibacterial benefits and antiviral benefits. And the dominant terpenes in a hemp plant will work in tandem with the phytocannabinoids in that hemp plant in order to enhance their benefits. So they can work together to assist with issues such as inflammation, anxiety, fungal infections, and pain. And so usually the kind of profile of terpenes and phytocannabinoids that are found within the plant, they will produce the benefits that are associated with that particular strain of cannabis plant. And so research has now shown that the dominant terpenes in a cannabis plant, so for example, terpenes and phytocannabinoids can work together to help with issues such as inflammation, anxiety, fungal infections, and pain. So that is really something that is unique about these particular compounds that you're not going to find if you just have a CBD isolate. And really, I think they are so beneficial and important in terms of the role that they play. And so not only has research found that terpenes in these cannabis plants work to actually amplify the positive benefits, but even on their own, these compounds have been shown to produce really significant therapeutic effects. And so some of the most well-known and most studied terpenes would include beta-caryophyllene, limonene, myrcene, alpha and beta pinene, and linalool. So some of these are, for example, known for their pain relieving activity. So we have humulene, geraniol, linalool, and beta pinene. And they are also found to activate the body's CB1 receptors, which are known to influence the body's pain perception. And so one of the other, so also in addition to that, we have beta-caryophyllene, and this has gotten a lot of attention in studies of full spectrum CBD. And this is because of its therapeutic properties. So its ability to bind to CB2 receptors means that it is anti-inflammatory, antimicrobial, antibacterial, and an antioxidant. And it also can help relieve anxiety and pain, reduce cholesterol, and prevent osteoporosis. In addition, its interaction with THC allows it to counteract some of THC's psychoactive properties and to support the digestive system. Its interaction with humulene promotes anti-inflammatory properties, which are supportive to arthritis, bursitis, and fibromyalgia. And it is known to reduce inflammation in the brain and chemicals that cause oxidative stress associated with inflammation. And it is also known to reduce gut inflammation, and it plays a role in lipid and glucose metabolism and has anti-diabetic properties. So you can see just that one terpene has such far-reaching benefits on its own and in combination with other terpenes and other phytocannabinoids. And really, we are now only starting to scratch the surface of how beneficial these various compounds are. So you can only imagine once scientists begin to study these compounds more and more, we will find even more benefits than what we are aware of right now. And here we have a really helpful visual to see the various terpenes that can be found in cannabis plants. So they are going to be different depending on the strain, and they are going to be different in terms of the amount that you find within each plant. So you can always, you can get information as to what your full spectrum oil actually contains, which terpenes, and I'll discuss that a little bit more towards the end of the presentation, but just so that you are aware of some of these terpenes and you can discuss them in more detail with individuals that are interested in the product. And then the next compound that is so beneficial are flavonoids. So they belong to a group of plant chemicals called phytonutrients. And so flavonoids, if this sounds familiar to you, some of these words, it's because we have also talked about flavonoids within vegetables and fruits, because they are found there as well. And so they are specifically found in polyphenols. And so in plants, their purpose includes filtering ultraviolet light, removing toxins, and also protecting plants from microbes. So in ancient Chinese and Ayurvedic medicine, polyphenols were used to promote brain aging, skin protection, and to regulate blood sugar and blood pressure. And they are also known for their anti-inflammatory and antioxidant properties. So for example, if you are looking at, let's say, a fruit or a vegetable, the flavonoids would be actually responsible for the color of that fruit or vegetable, and those are associated with various benefits. So hemp contains about 20 different flavonoids, and the intense aromas, colors, and flavors in the hemp plant are attributed in part to flavonoids and in part to terpenes. So they do work in concert with cannabinoids and terpenes, as well as individually, to produce therapeutic effects. So for example, both the terpene limonene and the flavonoid quercetin have anti-inflammatory properties. So when they are combined, they're just really piggybacking off of each other to provide even greater relief than they would individually. And so we have a few of the main flavonoids that are found in hemp. So those are cannaflavins A, B, and C, apigenin, camphorol, quercetin, and luteolin. And so cannaflavins A, B, and C, they're the ones that have kind of been studied the most in regards to the flavonoids in hemp plants. And they have been studied for their antioxidant and anti-inflammatory potential, as well as supporting cardiovascular health. So they are involved in the production and the release of prostaglandin E2, which is a very potent anti-inflammatory mediator. And they have been shown to mediate TPA, which is another pro-inflammatory agent, TPA-induced prostaglandin production in cultured rheumatoid synovial cells. So cannaflavins A and B have been shown to be 30 times more effective than aspirin in inhibiting PGE2 release in human rheumatoid cells. So this is amazing because you're thinking about taking, a natural product that comes from plants and then taking a product that is, lab produced. And this natural product actually has stronger benefit and stronger effect than the lab produced product. So really the choice between one or the other is, there's no debate, especially when there are so many other added benefits than just the pain relief. And then we have camphorol and quercetin. They're also known for their anti-inflammatory properties, and they have both been studied for their positive effects on the cardiovascular system and in terms of lessening cardiovascular disease. And then we have luteolin, which shows benefits in being able to protect the brain, so lessening brain fog, increasing memory, and also protecting the heart. And in studies, it has also displayed strong cardioprotective properties, and it is protective against coronary artery disease, heart failure, and atherosclerosis. So again, because of the strong antioxidant properties. And here we have this great visual of the various flavonoids and basically some of their qualities. So this is something that is great just to have a really quick glance to see what they are responsible for. So we have things like, let's say, the beta sitosterol. So we have anti-inflammatory qualities there. In the silymarin, which again, you find that in milk thistle, so protective for the liver. So we have antioxidant properties, also anti-inflammatory properties, cardioprotective properties. So this is something that you can, use to quickly just get an idea yourself, but also you can guide people to it to show them very quickly some of the benefits. And then just something very important to note and for you to be able to share with your clients of why it is so this product is so unique versus other products that might be on the market that are also full spectrum oils. So this is looking at our GMP and testing. So FS1 is produced in the US and it's produced under good manufacturing practice guidelines. So this is very important because it means that each batch is consistently produced and controlled to quality standards. And the CBD hemp used in FS1 is sourced from industrial hemp farms that produce some of the purest hemp in the world. It is organically grown and it is not bioengineered. It's also tested for quality and content multiple times throughout the process, from, for example, the very beginning, which is the harvesting stage, to the bottling stage, in order to ensure that the oil is pure and that it contains the necessary therapeutic content at specific levels and that it is free of any contaminants. So that multi-stage testing is really important because throughout the whole process, you can see that the quality and the integrity of the product does not change. So we also have a third-party testing company that provides a certificate of analysis for each bottle, for each lot of FS1. So once you get your bottle, you will actually see that there's a scannable QR code that will take you to the results. And this will show the purity of the product, CBD content, microbial content, heavy metals, pesticides, and solvent for each batch and every bottle. So you will be able to see that the levels of each are actually what the levels are, and that they are to the standards and qualities of GMP. And you'll also be able to see, for example, what phytocannabinoids are found in your oil and in which amounts, and you'll be able to see which terpenes and flavonoids are found in your in your product and in which amounts. So this is gives you a really clear picture of the product, which other companies might not have available. Okay, so just going back to important things to remember about FS1. So looking back to our why, our who, and our ask. So the why, are you looking for a natural product that works with your body's innate systems to promote better health and well-being in areas of stress management, joint health, energy, and sleep? You can always ask clients or individuals interested in the product if this is something that their body needs or that they're looking for, and you can direct them to the product. Who is this product for? Individuals who are looking to bring greater support to their bodies, feeling the effects of everyday stressors, or with chronic health conditions who wish to support their body's innate systems for greater health and well-being. And really, I feel that every single person can fall into this category, right? Because all of us are dealing with everyday stressors, whether they are very intense stressors or whether they are minute stressors that add up over day to day. And even in terms of, individuals who are dealing with health conditions that would benefit from the support, or just individuals who are at an okay level of health, but they are looking for better overall health, anybody can benefit from this product. And then in terms of the ask, some of the questions, again, that you can ask an individual to really be able to understand whether this product would be beneficial for them. So the first question is, do you feel that you are stressed? And would you like to have support in feeling a greater amount of relaxation and calm in your daily life? Question number 2, are you managing multiple health issues and are looking for a natural product that works with your body's innate systems to target multiple areas of concern at once? And then question number 3, are you looking to offer general support to systems in your body, such as mood and stress management, digestive and immune health, and overall cellular health, to go from meh to thriving in your daily life? So again, you are generally going to find with each person, there's probably an area or system in their body that they are looking for some support in, right? So if it's not, let's say, digestive support, maybe it's immune health, or, maybe it's stress management, or maybe in terms of dealing with some mood issues. So you're kind of going to find that there's something within this product that you could offer anybody. And then, of course, lifestyle and tips. So this is something really great to emphasize because our bodies do have every single body has this endocannabinoid system, and every single body produces endocannabinoids. So this is a point that you can really emphasize as well, because if you already have the system within your body and it's responsible for so many different functions, then wouldn't you want to help the system function as best as it can? So in addition to taking FS1 to be able to boost the function of the system, there are things that you can actually do to increase the function of your endocannabinoid system naturally. So the first thing would be eating foods that support this system function. So endocannabinoids are produced from arachidonic acid, and this is an omega-6 fatty acid. So having a balanced diet of omega-3 to omega-6 fatty acids is the best way to take proper levels of healthy omega-6 into your system. So in addition to FS1, some foods that provide this healthy balance are hemp seeds and oil, chia seeds, walnuts, flax seeds and oil, sardines and anchovies, and pasture-raised eggs. So here, by increasing intake of those foods, you are going to be able to support your endocannabinoid system. Also, engaging in exercise such as yoga, running, tai chi, and other physical activities that you enjoy will work to boost your endocannabinoid tone. Next, meditation, acupuncture, massage, and breathing exercises. Breath work can also boost your endocannabinoid function. A balanced whole foods diet with clean water can support endocannabinoids. So prioritizing organic foods when you are eating kind of your whole foods diet, this can be helpful because you do find, it has been found that some pesticides do block endocannabinoid production. And then of course, the clean water component is important as well. Avoiding plastic use is helpful because phthalates can block EC receptors and our hormonal system. Eating chocolate. So this is a great one to know, right? But it has to be at least 70% cacao. Cacao contains compounds that are structurally very similar to endocannabinoids. These compounds can prevent the breakdown of your own body's ECs, meaning your body will maintain higher levels naturally. And then using more herbs and spices in your kitchen. So for example, herbs such as, or spices such as black pepper, oregano, cloves, and cinnamon. These will boost your endocannabinoid tone, and they are also CB2 agonists, which can help lower inflammation. Decreasing alcohol intake, as moderate to high intake can impair endocannabinoid signaling. And of course, enjoying time spent with loved ones. This can also increase your endocannabinoid tone. Thank you, everybody, for listening to today's presentation. And as always, if you have any questions or require additional support, please contact us at support@esprita.com.